Hey, Nick, we need a tagline for the podcast.
No.
Real life opinions. Movie reviews told by fans and not critics. Welcome back to another weekly episode. So, we had the idea from what's happening? Anyway, we had the idea.
Technical difficulties already, eh? That's a record. 10 seconds into the podcast, we're having technical difficulties.
We'll find a way to beat it. It's fine. We had the idea that we're going to actually start. We were kind of doing consensus movies and a little bit of this, a little bit of theme movies. We're just going to do it old fashioned. You know, every week we each pick a movie and then the group talks about said movie. And that's a good thing. So being me and being the kind of person I'm going to lead in with this one. So this movie is pretty damn brainless. This movie is Ivan Reitman's Evolution.
Classic from 1999, eh?
Yeah, it was a fun movie for me. Anyway,
I'd like to ask you guys, does this feel like a spiritual sequel to Ghostbusters?
I was going to somebody mentioned something like that, and I was going to say no. I heard that Reitman, this was supposed to be, and it probably for one of you guys, and I went in there thinking, watching this, and going, no, and maybe he changed it after he found out that he couldn't or whatever, but there's too many deviations,
It definitely didn't, after my recent watch, it didn't feel very Ghostbusters, but like at first glance, it's Ivan Reitman, there's a group of 4, half of them are scientists, there's a quirky one, there's 3 of them are scientists.
One's a scientist, one's a pseudo-scientist.
Yeah.
The other one's kind of a scientist, and the other one's a brain-dead idiot. That's Bill Murray. I don't know.
Well, Winston's not really
we're
a scientist.
Ghostbusters. Like, Bill Murray's not in this, but never mind. Bill Murray has a doctorate in parapsychology.
Scott Williams is the...
Oh, Sean Williams.
no-mind.
Yeah.
I don't think Winston would be called a no-mind, but he wasn't a scientist either in Ghostbusters.
No, he was just a street guy.
But Sean Williams does fill his role and somewhat Bill Murray's role, right? Which is kind of where they kind of get the...
He's the supreme extrovert in the group.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if we're trying to force the similarities, it's like, well, obviously they're not enough. We have a scientist. Well, the other guy he's not a pseudoscientist. He actually is a scientist. He just, he's a little big with his opinion or whatever.
He's almost more the Bill Murray character than Sean William Scott.
Which one are you talking about? Orlando Bloom?
Jones.
Jones?
Orlando Jones.
Sorry, I always say that too. Always say that. My wife gets mad at me too because she loves Orlando Bloom. So, yeah.
Well, that's tough competition for you.
I know.
I want to say he's like my favorite actor performance in this whole movie too. Orlando.
Yeah.
When he's got the time to shine, he makes the best of it, right? Like there's times where he's just kind of along for the ride, and then boom, he shows up. He
did a really good job in that Sleepy Hollow series, actually.
I don't know what he's been in, but what I know is I think he fell into that. Well, they want this part of me, so I'll bring this part in everything I do. But I haven't seen the Sleepy Hollow thing. But when he plays it serious, I would have loved to have seen him in a more dramatic.
No, and it was all dramatic in Sleepy Hollow.
So that might have been the really good one?
It had, I think it was about 3 or 4 seasons long. The first 2 seasons were the only good ones. But I believe he played the cop and like the sheriff or whatever. But
the sheriff in Sleepy Hollow?
Like the TV series, not the movie, obviously.
Was he not in The Replacements?
Oh God, I don't remember that movie.
That was on my list of.
I think you're right, though. I think you're right.
Or The Replacement. Who else was in that?
Keanu Reeves.
Yes.
Oh,
Gene
Hackman.
Yeah.
Hot chick with abs.
I do not remember him in The Replacements.
He was at first. I was petrified. He sang the song. Oh. He started the song, and that's if I remember right. I could be wrong.
We might have to Google.
It's bleeding. It's a rock that bleeds.
So I want to talk about this opening for half a second, because were you not getting kind of the first opening to this? I got a bit of Men in Black vibe.
Yeah.
This was 2 years after Men in Black and all the starry sky, and then the big explosion. The Sean William Scott character is kind of a creep in the first 5 minutes of this, with the
yes
doll.
and no. He meant well, but it definitely came across as creepy.
I'm gonna take this doll in the middle of a desert by myself.
But he wanted so hard to pass the fireman test, and he needed somebody to say, again, he meant well. It just came across as super creepy. With Betty Lou here.
Yeah, he was probably the weak spot in this for me, and I like him. And sadly enough, one of the best things I've seen him in was the final season of the TV series Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
But I get it. The other guy was done. Waynes.
Yeah.
He was done, and I thought Scott did a great job.
Yeah.
Well, Scott wasn't in that the whole series.
No,
was
he took over the guy who played Riggs because the guy went insane.
Yeah.
So
that doesn't I can't see Scott.
He came in as his cousin.
Yeah, he didn't take over as Martin Riggs, but he took over as the secondary character.
As a Riggs.
I have a hard time picturing, just because of what I know of Sean William Scott's work.
Exactly. That's a deviation from everything. He is Stifler, whatever.
He actually did not a serious job, but he did before he was Stifler. He was in Final Destination, and he was just a teenager. He wasn't a zany, over the top party teenager. He was just a teenager, and he did a good enough job for that.
I do not remember.
He's the one who got his head lopped off with the plate from under the train that shot out and cut his head off.
Oh,
yeah.
Thank you for reminding us of Final Destination. Millennials everywhere have trauma now. Thanks, Corey.
Never seen that. I've always wanted to. It looked interesting.
The first one was fun. The second one was actually genuinely good. And then
it turned into a series.
Yeah.
Standard movie series.
Didn't the fourth one become really... Wasn't the fourth one really good too? The fourth one ended up being a prequel, but you didn't know it was a prequel? Or was that the fifth one?
I can't... It might have been the fourth, because I know Saw did that same route, and Saw 4 was really good because it ended up being a prequel. So, yeah.
I want to talk for a moment about the eclectic career of Reitman.
He's got a heck of a career, I think.
I'm just flipping through here, and there's stuff on... It's there's a lot of Space Jam.
No way,
but then he counters it with the second one, Space Jam Legacy. Okay, well, that's a wash. We'll get rid of that.
Did he make the second one?
That's what it says here. A new legacy.
Yeah, I didn't realize he did the second one.
I didn't think he was alive when the second Space Jam, because he died in the making of Afterlife.
Yeah.
And that came out before Space Jam 2.
I don't think so.
Or did it?
I don't think so. Space Jam 2 came out...
Was he director or just producer?
It was right in front of my eyes. And then there it is. 2021.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Afterlife came out.
Was also 2021.
Oh, was it the same year?
Well, that's when they came out. Now, because we're coming out of COVID, they might have had these done 3 years earlier. So
yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
That's totally fair.
But I mean, if we look back, his Ghostbusters thing is what it is. You love it or hate it. He did Twins, but to counter that, he also did Junior. so that's a wash. He also did Kindergarten Cop, Stripes.
Yeah, everyone knows Stripes.
Then he does Draft Day.
I don't remember. Is that?
That's Costner.
Yeah,
that was a good movie for a drama.
For what Draft Day was, I do not understand how they made that premise exciting. It's we're going to do the NFL draft. That sounds like the boringest movie ever.
Jerry Maguire?
I mean, was Moneyball?
Moneyball was a fantastic movie. Yeah.
I mean, you're taking this boring suit stuff and making it exciting.
Space Jam 2, executive producer.
Oh, okay.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because anytime you make the first one, you're always involved in the second, no matter how bad it is.
Oh, okay.
Well, that's not always true.
They always find a way to have their name in the credits somewhere.
Unless they want to be disassociated with the franchise.
Yeah.
Did you hear that they're going to go ahead and make a fifth Matrix. It made me think of the Wachowski brothers, who clearly
Slash
didn't.
sisters slash yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway,
my apologies to them. That
I apologize. For nothing.
I mean, they could make the whole whatever you want to call it franchise thing with that.
Well, they're going ahead and making a fifth one, and there's going to be no Wachowski involvement at all. I heard, which is like the only reason she made the fourth one was so that I can have some creative control, right?
Who's she?
One of this, which house?
Oh, okay.
Lana, I
Siblings.
believe.
Okay.
One of
okay,
the we'll refer to them as the siblings.
Yeah.
Because they were the brothers for so many years. That's what I identify them in my head. So I'll change it to siblings to help me out.
And actually, you want to go with that route. The Wachowskis there did Matrix, which was groundbreaking.
Yeah.
And then they did Speed Racer.
I hear people defend Speed Racer. I've never seen it.
It's so bad.
It's a kid's movie. I watched it. I think I watched it with Logan. And it just wasn't, I don't see why it would be a bad movie for kids.
I guess.
But it's like, what's that movie? And everybody really hates Airbender. What's his name?
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I don't know enough about Airbender to care. So when I watched it, it seemed like an okay movie.
See, and me, who has zero interest in Japanese animation, I could only get 15 minutes into that movie. I'm like, this is ridiculous. And I've never even seen anything to do with the Japanese animation. So it's not me saying, it insulted the name. It just was an awful movie.
I think we can all agree that the Dragon Ball movie, even if you didn't watch Dragon Ball, was a terrible movie.
And yet, again, I hear fans of Dragon Ball defending it.
Really?
Yeah. Again, I didn't watch it because of zero interest in the thing, and I made my mistake with Avatar. So
I never got into that style of franchise of goofy anime type stuff. Great, but it never.
I've seen one good Japanese animation thing in my life, and it was the original Street Fighter 2 movie from back in like late 80s, early 90s.
No, it was Jean-Claude.
No, like anime movie.
Like the anime.
Yeah.
So
I liked Akira. Sorry.
Can we talk about them bringing a busload of kids to this meteorite site? I guess these are teenagers. These teenagers are college students.
They're college students.
Let's just bring a busload of college students out to this.
Are you sure? Because I thought
community college.
Oh yeah, you're right too. I thought the hot chicks
Glen Canyon Community College.
Yeah, Glendale Community College. It's they do go on and on about Glendale Community College quite a bit.
Right.
Glen Canyon.
Glen Canyon, yeah. Glendale's
an
community.
actual place in Phoenix, it's a division of Phoenix, but
Bring her out in the pump shoes or whatever.
Yeah.
I wanted to call them thongs, but like
sandals.
They're called thongs.
I don't know.
Yeah,
they're shoes.
Why would you come out to like a dig like this in those shoes?
Well, and they joke about it in the movie too.
Oh yeah, no. All of these are just brutal stereotype characters in this thing, and that's kind of the absurdity. Yeah, that annoys me. But what's his name? The big fat guy,
Ethan Suplee.
Oh yeah,
who's
freaking
now?
400-pound Ethan Suplee, who's now like a freaking mountain of muscle.
Yeah, I can't even recognize him. Like, is some. We're lucky we're guys because guys like get better looking with age. It can happen. Like
Not me.
Well, like we had a base layer to start with there, Corey.
Right?
There was only so much to grow from.
That's the problem. I started low and I still never went up.
Yeah, I'm gonna go up from here. No. But like you look at him now, and you look at him in this movie. It's like, wow, you look.
Who's Suplee?
Yeah,
you can see it in his eyes, and that's about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, he made a transformation. Now, did he ever get any better at acting? I don't know.
I actually liked him in. I mean, he has a small role, but I liked him in Butterfly Effect. Actually,
I don't remember.
He was the roommate.
I did like that.
Yeah, he was the roommate.
As a
the goth roommate, all dressed up.
Oh yeah,
he was the goth roommate. Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, everybody in my Butterfly Effect was an absolute fantastic movie. I hate Ashton Kutcher, and I love that movie.
It has been a hot minute since I've seen.
It's a hard watch. It's a hard, like the scene with the baby and the scene with.
It's
And then the stepdad or whatever he was, the abusive father there, like it's a hard movie to watch, but it's so well done. I thought the ending was ridiculous, and then that that movie went from there's different endings too.
Oh yeah.
But the movie went from a 10 to like a 2 just because of the ending. So
the ending's the thing I remember the most about that, though. Like
signs of a good movie.
Well, you don't think that's sometimes?
But yeah, there was the ending of him strangling himself in the womb, which was they allude to it in the movie that she lost 2 other babies that way, blah blah blah. But then there's the other ending where he walks down the street and sees her walking down the street, and they don't know each other yet, and because he purposely went his whole life not trying to know her so she could be happy, and they walk in the past each other in the street, and I think there's a glance, and then that's the end of the movie. And
yeah, I seem to remember that one.
Yeah.
See, I thought that was the ending they actually went with.
I can't remember which was because
I thought the baby strangling himself was an alternate one, and depends which cut you watch.
It could be, yeah. Regardless, the ending was ridiculous.
That's a hard watch in any movie. Like the audience is not ready to watch a baby strangle itself.
Well, I mean, the idea of it, the premise is sound in the sense that every time he goes back, he has full memory.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So why would he not go back into this fetus or whatever, and not have full consciousness? But I mean, is not my favorite ending. But hey, at least they could have been worse.
So, are these scientists irresponsible in this movie?
Everybody in this movie is irresponsible. I got some gripes with the military people too.
Oh.
Well, the character or the roles of the actors in this movie, like in terms of like you said, militaries, teachers, and scientists, and they're such caricatures of themselves that like. You can exactly that. Call every last one of them irresponsible and not be wrong.
Yeah.
So.
Well, what about Julianne Moore? I think she doesn't do anything irresponsible.
She puts everything in the hands of the irresponsible scientist later on in the movie.
Okay.
By very definition.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
They're made out to be the heroes here. In the beginning of the movie, everyone's like, we can't tell the government. We can't tell the government.
Oh,
well, that was in the trailer too. It's like, can't tell the government. I used to work for them, and so this was right after X-Files ended.
Oh yeah.
So they're like, oh my god, he's smaller.
I mean, it's like Duchovny's character is like, they have this whatever that condition is that's named after him because all
madness.
And everybody got sick and fell and this and that, whatever. It's like, it was just a little thing.
I love David Duchovny. That said, he has the personality of a wet dish rag. So
I like him, and I like him in the right roles. That's what I was okay with. I was not expecting to, but I mean his dry, emotionless.
Well, and that was the point, is he was supposed to be completely contrary to Orlando.
But he's trying to do that. It's like, that's all the motion you got, bro? Oh, bro, man.
Must lube up robotic limbs.
Can I explain my only gripe in this movie is not that long after it, they stopped putting selenium in Head and Shoulders.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I don't know if there's a connection, but I'm a little concerned.
That doesn't make any sense to me, the periodic table. I know like a movie's got a movie, but like...
That's 120% of movies got a movie.
That's moving very hard. The selenium being the... Well, if you look in the periodic table, arsenic is our thing. Well, plutonium's also on there. If you swallowed a shit ton of plutonium, you'd die. Like,
well, what was the trigger for him to look up this selenium?
Down over it from carbon, which is us, is arsenic. So down over from nitrogen, which is what they are, was selenium.
Oh, so they went the opposite direction?
No, they just shifted over. So down over. So,
okay.
Because carbon and nitrogen are right beside each other.
Okay.
So.
So we're carbon, they're nitrogen based. So they went like this?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, okay. Well, that's not ridiculous.
Why arsenic?
What Why not? I don't. I
yeah.
don't,
Why
I'm
not?
not a chemist, so I don't know it. I was in chemistry class for one day, and he says we're gonna have to memorize this, and I quit and picked up biology. So there you go.
Yeah, no, I'm out.
Yeah.
I am not gonna memorize
Like
it.
me in physics.
That I knew Mr. Patrick was a sleeper in class, so everybody wait till he naps. He'd go up, put a 1 in front of the zeros for all the assignments. He'd never do a single assignment, but you get 100% on assignments. He'd never call you on it.
Wow.
But I mean, they were only like 20% of your mark. But then 5% I needed. Anyway,
General Woodman. Ted Levine. We were talking about Ted Levine. He's got a very distinguished voice. I know when I first watched it, I'm like, why do I know that voice? And then, like, this was much earlier. And then I found out, I'm like, oh my God, that's Buffalo Bill from Silence of the Lambs. So he had his birthday the other day. So I watched this movie in memory. And then I'd watch Silence of the Lambs. And I forgot how great he actually can be.
I had no idea he was Buffalo Bill. And that's, isn't he famous now? A Ty Burrell? Is that who that is?
I don't think that is.
who?
From Modern Family.
I'm pretty sure that is Ty Burrell.
He is.
I
wouldn't say he's famous, but he's a
he's a lot more
fame celebrity.
He's a lot more famous now than
he was in this. Yeah, I agree.
And look at these guys just saying their pervy thoughts way out in the public, like, "Ooh, she's wearing a garter belt." Like,
At a day function.
You're just gonna keep that kind of stuff to yourself that you're trying to look underneath the scientist's skirt, do you not?
Yeah.
But
2001, Jeff. 2001.
Wow, did I say 99?
You did.
I just looked at that and I didn't think nothing of it. And I was going to look at him and say, Julie, you looked that up, you bugger. You probably did. So that with such confidence.
I did say it with such confidence. Man, it feels like a 91 thing. Like,
well, I was going to say, we're way too far away from the 90s to be, all this misogynist shit. I thought we were starting to get...
Pat Kilbane.
Pat Kilbane?
No fucking clue who that is, but that was the guy.
I'm confident Ty Burrell's in it. I seen it in the credits.
He is in it. Ty Burrell.
Let me just check.
Yeah. No, I watched the credits because I thought it was him. And then I was just like, yeah, it is him.
Oh, yeah, look at that. I guess this other guy I thought looked like him. Maybe not. You're right. Never mind. I didn't think that was actually him. Anyway, cool.
So you guys had to Google me on two facts.
Well, I didn't Google
and the one.
I was actually looking up names and characters, the cast and whatever.
Anyway, so he's not, do the podcast on our phones. What's it called?
That's for TikTok.
Yeah, jeez.
We're going to do a TikTok while we're on our phones?
No, yeah, you have to. That's the whole design behind TikTok. So
it's hard
for all you ladies, here is David Duchovny mooning everyone.
Ooh, after all these people got the Kane madness from him, eh?
Yeah. Oh. Fruit basket for Russell Woodman.
That's a glorious ass. I'm going to say that's
he shaves.
He must. That's like a perfect peach. Like, I think he does squats. I'm pretty confident he does squats.
I think he does the Thigh Master from Suzanne Summers.
He had, I think this was right before his collapse that he had, like, in terms of his personality. Like, he apparently got addicted to sex and he was doing Californication, so that didn't help.
But wasn't Californication kind of like an extension of his real world personality? Wasn't that kind of like the whole thing?
Kind of, sort of, yeah. So he actually ended up seeking help for it, broke up with his beautiful wife.
Oh my God, is that the judge from Ghostbusters? That's one of the judges from one of the Ghostbusters movies. I'm positive of it now that
it probably is. It's Ivan Reitman, so
yeah,
he does reuse his characters. So,
and how did they get in front of the judge so quick? This is like a week later they got in front of a judge.
There's nobody in the crowd, so obviously it's just a civil hearing. So
called movie.
Okay, I will accept the movie's moving.
I mean, I only have a few gripes. I mean, obviously they got to get to the judge and do whatever it is plot points they got to get to.
Yeah, exposition.
Yeah, but there's only a couple points that really, really irked me in this. I'll get to it when it comes around. And
so she's a scientist and now she's a lawyer. Is that this movie is moving?
Is she a lawyer, or is she just putting her case forward to a judge looking for a deposition or something?
I guess it does work that way in real life. So this is actually a real accurate courtroom because I don't know
I'm not
if
saying that.
you guys ever been in a courtroom before where you're like on trial? Not saying
I
I've
mean,
Not me.
No, I'm trial. I've been in a courtroom before. Yeah.
So I've
I had jury duty once.
I was one time. Yeah, there he is. I missed him again.
I don't think that's him.
No, looks like him. This is
Kinda.
very similar look,
Yeah.
right? So in a courtroom, I got to question someone on the witness stand while I was getting charged for something.
Really?
Yeah, that's a real thing. Yeah. American might be different than Canadian, but that's a real thing.
My only experience in a courtroom was fighting a charge, like a ticket, and I get up to my turn, so I'm waiting in the crowd till my case gets called up, and they call me up. I stand up, they're like, "Case dismissed."
Wow.
All right, thanks for wasting an hour of my time waiting for my case to be called up.
Twice. Once, same thing. Somebody claimed my dog was barking. We got thing, and I went to show up for it.
They took you to court for it?
It was a bylaw thing. Whatever.
For your dog barking.
Yeah, so whatever.
All right, anyway.
And then it was jury duty, which I got up there and I found out I actually knew the family.
Oh, jeez.
It's okay.
I was up there for a charge. It was a seatbelt ticket. They come in first thing and they're just like, they're taking down everyone's notes. And the guy comes by. He spends like 20 minutes with these other people. And they're just like, okay, well, what are you up for? Like, oh, yeah, I've got a seatbelt ticket. Well, maybe the cop won't show up. And then he carries on. He gives me like 5 seconds. As I'm looking at the cop who gave me a seatbelt ticket. And I'm just like, well,
son of a bitch. Yeah.
And so she gave me a seatbelt ticket while I was wearing a seatbelt.
Well, that's when it happens.
Yeah, right?
How does that work?
So she pulled me over.
Yeah.
I was paying bills on Main Street, and then I hopped in my truck and drove away. And then she pulled up behind me really closely and was following me, and then pulls me over up by the hospital. And she's just like, you know why I pulled you over? And I'm just like, nope, sure don't. Well, I'm giving you a seatbelt ticket. And I like pull my strap. I'm just like, I'm wearing my seatbelt. Oh, no. That was before you parked on Main Street.
Mhm.
I'm like, what? So I fought it. Then the judge was like having a field day with people. I thought
he fought the law,
and the law didn't win.
Oh, no, I didn't pay it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I thought the judge was going to throw the book at me because he was like destroying everybody. Everyone that came and like repelled that day. This fucking judge was just like an asshole. And I got to question the cop and everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah.
That was like the prosecutor when I was in the courtroom there, hearing the other cases, he is fucking lacing into everyone. He's making like a revolving door of defense attorneys, and he's the only prosecutor, and he's literally cleaning house, sending them all packing, winning every case. Mm-hmm. And it comes to mine, and I'm like, fuck. And he literally gets up, he's like, dismissed. I'm like,
oh, but guys, we're hitting the 30-minute mark here, so we're going to have to take a short commercial body break. Body break, keep moving. Body break, keep moving. Oh, yeah. Body break. Body break.
All right. I know I feel refreshed. Everybody feel good? Stretched out? Got that muscle twitch?
You know, it's all relative. So is it?
Oh, hold on, guys. I gotta pee. Oh, just kidding.
You should have peed 20 commercial breaks ago, Mike. We've talked about this. We were just at the rest stop.
You got a friend with a really small bladder. Knocking on the bathroom door. Sorry. Anyway.
So this movie's actually got a pretty interesting premise, I think. I don't know if I've ever seen this.
I love the premise.
Yeah.
The concept of
it. It would be interesting. Like I kind of feel like they always intended this to be a launching point for a franchise. And like it's got some of the nuts and bolts for it. It had a cartoon show. Did you guys know that?
I did not know that.
It had a cartoon show very much in the vein of the Men in Black cartoon show or the Godzilla cartoon show. I don't think it was as well received or lasted as long as those two, but the Men in Black show, like the intro to that, I guess slaps. Do 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 do. Oh,
I'm not feeling it, but I'll take your word for it. Live. It's much better.
You had to be a young kid at the time when that cartoon show came out. But yeah, I
Meanwhile, I was graduated by the time the movie came out.
it's not my fault. You guys are older than me. Not my fault. But yeah, it does. I don't know where else you could have took this story though, even though it did feel like it was supposed to be a vehicle for a franchise. Like
No, it kind of summed up everything. Like if they would have had like a snippet behind, like one alien survived, dun dun dun.
well, they did have the flying dinosaur.
Oh yeah, that's true. I thought that was just a credit thing. It wasn't an actual. I don't know.
Well, you know, sometimes they do that where the credit thing is the illusion.
Yeah.
It'd be interested. The only thing I think they could have done next was have it highly evolved. Like there's one bit that survived, and then when it comes out, it's just like so hyper evolved, which could have been
You
a cool.
mean like Independence Day 2?
I don't remember that
It was
movie.
just a one
Yeah.
giant mother.
It's safer not to remember that movie.
Like I remember, like we made the spaceships bigger. That's what I remember from
There
Independence
was
Day
one
2.
mother ship or mother creature that was. Yeah.
It's
always one little thing that gets away. I mean,
I watched it once and I feel my life has moved on.
How was the first one so good, yet the second one was so bad?
because they did the second one looking for money, not for telling stories. That's why.
And that was when Roland Emmerich was in his hype for disaster movies.
He did that?
Yeah.
What else has he done?
He did Day After Tomorrow.
I like
He
that.
did 10,000 BC, which wasn't a disaster movie, but still was one of those exaggerated movies.
I don't know if I ever saw 10,000 BC.
I didn't either.
I didn't.
It's you're not missing.
How do you know we're not missing one? Maybe it's like the Green Book of its genre.
Well,
Wow.
I said maybe.
Okay.
I'm not saying it was.
What's the best movie you can think of that you hate?
The best movie that I hate.
Yes. You think it's an incredibly well done movie, but you don't like.
Lord of the Rings.
Oh wow!
That's fair. I found it boring and uneventful, but I don't hate it.
I've never sat through any of them because I've been bored to tears within 5 minutes.
I was trying to. I did this thing a couple of years ago, or a year ago. A friend of mine is a big Lord of the Rings nut, Ash, who listens to our podcast. Hi, Ash. I tried watching it. It's just like, oh, it is so boring.
Well, fantasy in general bores me. I don't like fantasy, like knightsy, elvesy, blah 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 blah. Like that shit does not fly with me.
I'm not big on that kind of stuff either, but Lord of the Rings was pretty good, I thought.
Well, and that's the thing. I'm admitting that it's good for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I just hated it.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I watched it and I think, what can I pick apart out of this other than it's boring? It's slow. It's
think of Clerks too. Even the fucking trees walked in that movie.
There's only one return, and that's of the king, or that's of the Jedi.
See, you believe? Here's the scene. I totally believe the look on Orlando's face.
His eyes pop, basically.
Oh yeah.
They're getting the mosquito out of his skin. Oh,
get an ice cream.
It wasn't
what flavor? It doesn't matter. It's for my ass.
Oh.
I found it so interesting that the premise of this. I mean, all these things died whenever they got into oxygen. It's like, what are we worried about yet?
Yeah, like
at this point.
Why don't you just open up the cavern to oxygen? That actually makes sense. Oh
Rather
my god!
Than napalm, because
it sucks the oxygen out of the air, right?
Yeah.
Like,
wow! I just now made that connection. Why? Fire...
Holy shit! We just solved this movie.
With no conditioner.
There's a sciencey accurate thing. Like napalm would totally
First of all, and I know we should wait to that part, but we'd be waiting forever. How the did they get that many cans of shampoo from a small community town of Glen Canyon, Arizona?
Well, and then get it into a fire truck, no less. Like one bottle at a time.
Yeah. I was like, calm. Oh,
That was unnecessary douchebag.
Oh.
There's no need for him to be here.
You're talking about the boss?
The country club
he's
owner.
a customer.
No, that's the boss.
That's the boss.
That's the country club. The one who tells about the wet towel and everything at the beginning there.
I thought he was staying there.
No.
Oh
no.
You know what? Maybe.
I'm pretty sure that's his boss at the beginning. Who's like, "What kind of towel is this?" It's all kind
but
of.
But that might have been a guy staying there.
No, because he had a thing too. I think. So.
Oh, did he? Okay. Well, this isn't creepy at all.
And I think he actually makes a comment. It's like about my boss or something like that.
Oh. I can't remember what happens here. They get attacked by something out of the water.
Yeah, alligator thing. And it's like, something ate Barry Cartwright, and he's like, oh, and he's hiding a smile.
Oh, yeah.
I love that you can see how cold it is when they filmed this.
Mm-hmm.
And this chick he's waiting for, she's got to be freezing her ass off. Because you can see her voice when she comes down too, and she's not wearing a whole lot. Huh?
Yeah, which I know is not hot during the night, but my last time in Arizona, it was still 40 degrees in the dark.
What's that in Canadian?
No, like our temperature, 40 degrees, our temperature.
Oh, like
in the
Celsius?
dark.
40 degrees Celsius?
Yeah, in the dark.
If you've got a clear night, it can get pretty cold. And that's where the deserts would get cold, right? Because it's so clear at night.
No, when I was there, the desert was having a heat wave. And when the desert admits they're having a heat wave, they're having a heat wave. It was 50 degrees Celsius during the day.
Wow.
And yeah, like I said, at night, pitch blackout. I'm in the pool at the hotel, and it's an outdoor pool, obviously. And pitch black, and it was still 40 degrees outside.
So Sean William Scott's buddy there, I thought that was the other guy from American Pie. You know, the one...
Klein? Klein?
Klein?
Chris Klein? Or
Chris Klein?
No, not
Sherman.
Chris Klein. Sherman. I thought it was Sherman.
No.
The one who did his mom?
No.
Okay.
Jay Sherman. The Shermanator.
The Shermanator.
Jason? I don't know.
Chuck Sherman.
Not one of the main ones. He was like a side character.
Why didn't I pick that movie? I've been like hyping
You've been talking about American Pie since we started the podcast. Like, we were gonna do it for like your birthday, and we didn't do it for your birthday.
This is a 4-week notice that we're doing American Pie.
We're doing American Pie, eh?
Which one?
One.
Okay.
Just one. Only one. And we might end off with talking about not the spin-offs, because fuck the spin-offs.
You don't want to do American Pie Bandcamp? What the heck?
Fuck the spin-offs. But I enjoy all the movies in the actual literal series.
Mm-hmm.
I never got into it. Like I don't. It's not like a Adam Sandler movie for me. But American Pie was like. Okay.
Well, it spoke to me because like they graduate in '99 in that movie. I graduated in '97. So there's a lot of isms that I'm like, I remember that.
I was in high school when American Pie was out on VHS. So like, it was one of those must-watch, must-rent movies. Like that and Porky, we like rented religiously.
You rented Porky's?
A lot. I rented Porky's a lot.
Remember, porn was.
Oh yeah, no. I rented it too. But that was long before he was.
Porky's was like early '80s.
Yeah. No, it's. Yeah, no. I'm just trying to think. American Pie. I don't. I mean, it was just like there were so many things that turned me off. Like Stifler's mom, I do not find attractive.
She's not attractive,
and I do not. And the idea that he would hump an apple pie, I don't think is anything realistically even connectable to a human condition.
See, and I believed that there were people in my graduating class, or possibly person, that would have done that. So
after they saw the movie, I just know they got hot and warm apple. And I'm not a Eugene Levy fan.
Really?
He was great in SCTV. He was great in SCTV, but that's where he belonged. But it's just like, again, he brought that element to him, and I just never got behind him. I admire him for being a Canadian living in an American film world, but yeah, he just never, you know.
Well, he definitely shined in SCTV.
Oh yeah.
So, let's go. So now we're kind of going through the parts of the movie. Back to the movie. We're going through the parts of the movie where the creatures are starting to get out from the cave and into the world.
Oh yeah.
The suburb, anyway. I'm pretty sure. Speaking of people, the one in the red flower dress there, who's like the owner of the house. I'm pretty sure that is the girl that gets kidnapped at the beginning of From Dusk Till Dawn, the banker. That they kidnap and put her in the trunk and everything.
Her?
Yeah.
I don't know how you remember these actors like this, Corey, because
I have a problem.
I recognize her from lots of other movies. She's a very common supporting character. Not even a supporting actor, but she's a character actor. Well, sorry, you'd make a great secretary. She's probably played, 30 secretaries or 30 moms or, and that sort of thing.
I remember thinking, how good was that CGI when I first seen this specific scene? Like, there's the cute monster in the closet right now. That's what we're watching.
Really good CGI.
Well, it wasn't just
at the
CGI
time.
though. That's the thing. Like, that's the thing with Ivan Reitman is he used a lot of practical. Like, let's not forget. I mean, with the exception of when it was moving, the dog thing in Ghostbusters was all practical.
Mm-hmm.
This thing right here was probably practical until this part right here.
I'm not saying this is bad CGI. I'm just saying this isn't. By today's standards, this wouldn't be excellent CGI that I thought back and then.
Well,
this was outstanding CGI.
What by today's standard is excellent.
Well,
I mean, there's not a like they have specific movies that peak, and then we can't afford that shit, so it's trash outside of that or mediocre, right?
Usually the big budget movies, doesn't matter if they're good or not, have the special effects. Like some of them are movies, and there's some that aren't, but some of them are movies. What's it called?
Very few of them, because that was the biggest complaint I got from Marvel people is why do they try
well, they've got a bad track record as of late because for
CGI.
Yeah.
Well, even what was it? Black Panther was brutally bad CGI, and that was supposed to be like this tent peg of and it's just like, come on. But
like Transformers, for example, Transformers had phenomenal CGI, but it was trash movies. Except for the first one, I love the first one.
But the question is like, was it better CGI because it was mechanical and non-organic?
Probably.
That's the question.
Because there's so many CGI. Whenever they do people, Disney started to get it right finally. But when they but they started to do it right finally because most CGI, i.e., Polar Express, they looked lifeless and dead and scary. And
there was an uncanny valley with Polar Express specifically. I used to not like that movie because of it, but I've grown to love that movie. But
I didn't mind it. I liked it. It was like a cartoon. It was an animation. I mean, what was that video game? And they made a movie story about
Final Fantasy.
Yeah, that was great CGI.
That was another one with the uncanny valley, right? Like, it's just too close. Like, you either need to be this much different or almost perfect. When you're in the bottom of the valley there, something's wrong, right? Which is why the robots work in Transformers, right? Because it doesn't need to look realistic, right?
Yeah, I think mechanical or non-organic is easy to do.
I don't think there was any human CGI in Transformers. It was all the robot. So,
well, some of the stunts done, I can't think of any, but that means all the human stunts are all practical.
I believe that. I believe that.
Other than some long distance stuff, flicking. Sometimes you'll see that panned back scene where Witwicky's getting flying up into the back of whatever. But,
yeah.
Oh, did you guys notice that Sean William Scott right at the beginning of the movie does the walk away from explosion and does the jump too? I love it because he pointed that out in the rundown about everyone's gonna run.
That was a good movie for him.
That was a good movie.
The rundown is probably when I turned the corner on The Rock. I was just like, maybe The Rock is a good action star.
Again, that was when Rock was actually
was his second movie.
His character wasn't dead.
Was that his second movie?
His second movie.
Yeah.
His first movie was Mummy Returns.
Well, then he did the Scorpion King. Then he did the Rundown. So
Is it? I don't think so. I think the Scorpion King was after the Rundown.
It might have been the Rundown that said, "Hey, let's give him a shot at Scorpion King."
Yeah.
No.
Because
The Mummy Returns was definitely his very
Oh, yeah,
very
yeah,
first
yeah.
role.
Oh yeah.
And then they did the
But then
Rundown
they
to
did
give
the
him a
Scorpion.
chance as a lead, and they're like, "Oh crap, he can be a lead, so let's do the Scorpion
Here's
King."
another famous looking person. That's Sarah
That's
Silverman.
It's totally Sarah Silverman.
Look at all these like
Yeah.
not famous yet people.
Freaking love Sarah Silverman.
She's
And
just
until
taking
she
off the
talks.
shirt.
A little bit of an annoying voice, yeah, but she's a fun character because her little tongue-in-cheek, sarcastic, who she is, like her stand-up was fantastic. Her show was tolerable. I love Sarah Silverman. So
I like. Oh, excuse me. Oh, here. I like Sarah Silverman because she's not your typical actress per se. She's a little bit more raunchy, and she tries really hard to be funny. And I appreciate that about her. Right, like she tries to be her own person.
Well, I mean, she's not. I don't know what I don't know anything she's been in significance. Like doing bit parts like this, it's hard to get anything out of it.
Mhm.
She did the voice for Wreck-It Ralph, which doesn't mean anything as far as a grand scale. She's a gorgeous woman, but I've never seen her in anything as a significant supporting actress or a lead. So
I'm trying to remember her TV show, whether or not it was of anything in note,
show.
and I don't remember it.
Had Brian Posehn in it.
Yeah,
Brian.
Who's that?
In Big
You
Bang
don't know
Theory,
Brian
he was
Posehn?
the rock
I know
guy.
faces. I don't.
He was a which guy?
The rock guy in Big Bang Theory, the big tall guy with the beard and the big nose and everything like that. He had the really deep voice. He kind of talks like this. You'd know him to see him, guaranteed, because he's always a background character of some sort.
I'm mostly faces. I recognize faces.
If you've seen Devil's Rejects, you'd know who he is. But I mean, I'm not using that as my mark because obviously I know that movie
Wait,
doesn't mean you know
is
that
he
movie. So.
Penny's ex-boyfriend?
No.
Okay.
No,
that's the only character I can think like that.
But yeah, he's a fun guy too. He's a huge metalhead too. It's pretty awesome.
Really?
So, but
so these cops are incompetent in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Again, at what point is anybody competent in this? I mean,
like Ira Kane is kind of competent.
Ira, which is
that's David Duchovny.
David Duchovny. He's
now after he tried to kill his whole troop of people with his he's forced to go to work at community college.
You know, sometimes you gotta crack a few eggs to make an omelet, right? So he's trying to cure anthrax. But
Burke, that was his name. Burke, yeah.
Yes, I know him. Matt, the description you had was not him, but I know exactly who you're talking about now. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a big metalhead. Yeah, see, Sarah Silverman. But oh yeah, now they're looking over the canyon and all the winged creatures have come out and
they're all dying.
This leads up to my favorite part of the movie. Like, you know, like it or hate it, the freaking mall scene was absolutely hilarious.
The mall scene was fun.
Okay, that was a low point for me, but
yeah, well,
I mean, it was just like, okay, really?
I think we established that Tookie and Kakad don't work.
That's
they hired him for that, and it's just like, like I said, I think you mentioned that at the top. He's my low point in this movie. Yeah.
I see the mall part was fun, but I could understand your point about it being a low point as well, because there was some eye rolls and some groaning going on with some of the stuff, but it's still a fun scene.
This whole entire movie is eye rolls and groans, but it's still fun.
The mall scene was particularly okay.
Like the shoplifting girl there.
Oh my god. Well,
I swear I'll pay for it next time.
Oh, it's gonna spit out a lung. It's gonna spit out
a baby.
A lung-breathing baby.
Mm-hmm.
It's evolving.
Baby.
I don't think that's how. Like it's established.
This is how the movie's working. I'm not guessing here. This is. I watched it but
it's established that it splits itself though in any other evolution.
The smaller cellular forms.
Well, I guess when it's a single cell, yeah.
You know, I don't know.
Animals
Right here,
don't
he just
reproduce by
picked up
splitting
a baby.
anymore, so
He just threw up a baby.
Well-
Or it threw up a baby. They have to be asexual.
was it?
We know that.
Well, they said that already too.
Well, I know. That's
Yeah,
what I'm saying.
so, yeah.
He said it's a boy, even though it's asexual.
Well, it's a joke because he gave birth to it.
And he didn't go through the normal passages.
Yeah, no, he
Yeah.
came out the mouth.
Yeah,
That's
that's probably just to keep it PG.
Yeah.
maybe. Oh, here comes the shoplifter, eh?
Yeah.
She also reminds me. She's somebody as well, is she not? The shoplifter.
She reminds me
She's
of
a shoplifter.
Heather Matsurato. I can't believe if that's her or not, or I can't remember if that's her or not. I don't think it is. But that's the friend from Princess Diaries there, and
You know Princess Diary. You're much more well versed in that than I would.
I have a Disney wife.
You've said you've said, but I'm
Well,
still.
my
And I love
likes-
Anne Hathaway, so
My wife likes to read. That doesn't mean I know who the hell.
You don't have to watch the words that she's reading on the
Yeah.
TV screen.
Yeah.
Like we talked about Lord of the Rings and Polar Express earlier, and those are shows that I have only seen through osmosis through my wife, right? Like those are the only reason I like those shows is because my wife likes those.
I've never necessarily liked anything because I was forced to watch it. They're not bad. That's Logan. What used to be one of Logan's Christmas flicks.
Yeah.
Was the Polar Express. My wife would always choose Vacation, and I was Scrooge. So, I mean, it didn't mean I liked it anymore.
I think Christmas Vacation is probably, now that I'm older, my favorite Christmas movie.
totally.
Like,
Except for, again, I still have my soft spot for Scrooge.
Yeah.
So.
Now mine is now Violent Night.
Violent Night is
that
good.
that hit my top 5 in one viewing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
I'm still a sucker for Home Alone at the holidays.
Oh,
so
I was going to say flashback. We were so quick to put the Green Book in the one section. Nobody thought to put it in the Christmas section.
Well, I get it's got a Christmas scene.
There,
yeah,
so just saying,
I'm sorry. Anything covered in post podcasts are no longer valid.
It could be sitting right next to Die Hard.
You know,
if I ever open my own video store, I would have an unconventional Christmas movie section.
Yeah, and you would put Green Book right behind Die Hard.
Yeah,
love it, love it.
Although
technically, all the Harry Potter movies, Christmas movies.
They all take
They
place.
all-
They all take their Christmas happens in every single one of those movies because it goes out through the course of the school year, right? Except for maybe the last one.
Yeah, I don't think there was a school year happening in the last
Yeah,
one.
I don't think they have a Christmas in the last
Yeah.
Getting all sorts of flashbacks.
Uh-oh.
Or a flash forward. No, it's the movies that I want to do. The Holdovers. That's another one. That was a great Christmas.
I don't know what that is.
Paul Giamatti. He was nominated for an Oscar for it, and he had the lazy eye. And there.
Anyway,
So today, I just read on the internet that Ardene's in our local mall is closed down, and this scene through the
for
mall
like weeks
just
now, but yeah.
this
Said for like weeks now, but yeah.
has it been closed for weeks now?
Yeah.
Man, I swear I was there like a week or two ago, and it was not closed down.
I'm gonna guess 2 at least weeks ago.
Anyway,
Yeah,
What's closed down?
Ardeen,
What's that?
girl accessory shop type thing in the mall, like right when
Oh,
you walk
okay.
in the mall entrance there, and
Oh, okay.
yeah.
I talked to the guy that runs the mall, and I thought he was moving all that stuff over, not closing them down. So I'm shocked to hear that it actually closed down. 'Cause I literally had a discussion about that end of the mall going, but it breaks my heart seeing how lively the mall here is and how that kind of shopping is pretty much done with.
I miss malls. I do. I wasn't a mall rat per se, but I love malls. So
I spent an awful lot of time in the mall here as a teenager. It was quite enjoyable.
well, I mean, my high school was right across the street from Mall and Lloyd, and I just say the Mall and Lloyd because it was Lloyd. So, so yeah, like whenever we skip class, whenever anybody skipped class, they were in the mall.
Look-
Like literally be fish in a barrel for the teachers if they wanted to catch people. So
The look on Orlando Jones's face right there with the singing.
you're
Says,
embarrassing me.
I will shoot you. Oh.
Rub some funk on it.
But it's working. His idiotic plan is working. How is this rubbing funk on it? I don't.
You're everything you.
Oh, I never had a.
And
Did-
the
did-
spear
did
by
Rock-
David Duchovny.
I feel like we've had this discussion. Rocky doesn't have them all, does it?
Never had them all.
Never
Not
had 'em
really.
all.
It has strip malls, has little sections with 4 or 5 buildings.
Strip
It's
mall's not a mall.
No, it's not. I mean, there's only a
Oh,
population.
sorry, a
of
spear
2,000
from Orlando Jones. A spear from Orlando Jones to save the girl.
Growing up, it had 2,000 people there, and then I think now it might have 5 or 6.
It's weird to think Camrose is so much bigger than it because I always felt like Rocky was a big town.
That's interesting. And I don't view Camrose as a city.
Yeah,
It's
right.
a freaking town.
Well, and it's even like
what do
I'm
we
from
got? 20,000 in
18.
16.
Okay. I'm from Humboldt, like I said, right? So, I mean, it was never a city when I was there. And so all of a sudden they're like, oh, yeah, it's a city now. It's got like McDonald's, Tim Hortons, Canadian Tire, Walmart. I'm like, what the hell? When did this happen?
You're from Humboldt?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
Yep.
I only
True
know
story.
that for the
Obvious reasons,
of-
which- Unfortunately, I had a lot of people come to me. I'm so sorry. I'm like, I didn't know them.
Does this
Oh, here
kind
it
of
is. Here it is.
does this kind of break the movie for you guys? Because this kind of broke the movie for me.
It is, yeah, kind of. It's just like, come on. David could be trying to
dance.
I don't know.
It could have definitely been left on the cutting room floor.
I think it was merely put in to be like, hey, they're having a fun time.
Yeah,
These are fun people.
They're so happy because they took out one little dragony thing, and
They
haven't saved the world by no means.
yeah, one, and it took their combined.
Oh my god,
effort.
it's a comparison to the Oilers series.
Oh.
I'm
Wait,
glad you said that.
whoa! Let's not get negative now, Corey.
Hey, they win in the end.
Yeah. Hey, maybe we will too. Can Connor McDavid drive a fire truck? Do you know? I
He
bet
can
he
drive
could.
a power play.
Wow, that's a terrible play.
I think it was in the script for Bettman just to tease Canadians.
Yeah, he knew that in 2024, after he died.
The script's only written.
No, Bettman. He's talking hockey.
Oh, Bettman. I think he said Reitman.
Oh no, Bettman. Yeah, Bettman.
I swear you were saving Ivan Reitman.
And
Hey, Dan Aykroyd's here.
3/4 into the movie, and we finally get Dan Aykroyd, which Dan Aykroyd's amazing. He's another national treasure. So
Oh, I love Dan Aykroyd. I don't know if this is my favorite role of his, but I love him in this role.
Actually, my favorite role of his is Sneakers.
oh yeah,
I don't think I've seen Sneakers.
really, Robert Redford.
That's a
Yeah.
fantastic film, in my
It
opinion.
was a great movie.
Yeah. It's
Is that
Robert
the one?
Redford.
The world is my password. Verify me, or my?
I think so.
Yeah. Anyway,
yeah, Robert Redford
Yeah.
and a bunch of other
that was a great movie.
big name people.
But
before they were big names.
we're pushing the clock here, guys. We're pushing the clock hard here, so we got to take.
I've been waiting 40 years for this.
Oh, it wasn't that long of a commercial break, guys.
Come on, people, stop it! I've told you a million times to stop exaggerating.
So, Dan
Literally.
literally told people a million times to stop exaggerating. That checks out, guys. That checks out. So Dan Aykroyd in this movie, is he the good politician or the bad politician?
He's the politician.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a good politician.
See, he doesn't play the bad mayor like
William Atherton.
yeah.
He's the counter to the general.
Yeah, he's the counter to the
You know,
yeah, he's the voice of reason, yet he's not the voice of reason.
Yeah, he's still a political
he's scared enough of this that he'll give you like, yeah, do whatever the hell you want. Do whatever the hell you want.
See that? Yeah, we while we were having our break, we glazed over that one scene that annoys me. Is like they figured out that fire makes it worse, and they're gonna napalm the hive where everything is, and they got to get word to the general. General, we just got word from so and so that if you put fire in there, it'll get worse. I don't care. Screw them. They're all nobodies. And it's just like the classic trope of, but even Dr. So-and-so called as well. No, she's just an idiot too. I'm a general. I know everything. That was annoying.
The classic don't listen to the scientist trope. Like,
Yeah.
when are the scientists ever wrong in these movies?
Well, and that's a very, very big trope in movies too.
Oh, yeah.
Jurassic Park.
Jurassic
They were
Park,
all
Independence
wrong.
Day, like all those big blockbuster science movies.
The scientists weren't wrong in Independence Day. They were not listened to and right. Is Ian Malcolm, is he a Jeff Goldblum's character? Is he a scientist or a mathematician?
He's still a scientist,
He's still a
But he
scientist.
is a mathematician.
but I believe he's a doctor.
Well,
He has a
doctorate.
doctorate.
Yeah.
Okay, I think the archaeologists and the mathematician take the place of the scientists in Jurassic Park.
I think Jeff is making up words.
Mathematician's a real word.
No, it's the what is Indiana Jones again?
The archaeologist.
Okay, you didn't say that the first time. Archaeologist.
Sometimes you got to listen to what I mean.
It's got
not what
arc
I
in
say.
it. It's fine. Raiders of the Lost Archaeologist. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah. It bugs me that they decided they were going to go into the cave when they know the napalm's coming.
And the fact that they got in there so easily.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
would think the military would have this partitioned off, right?
Well, that's like they should have. If they're planning this, they should obviously have a map of the cave. Whereas they're like, oh, there's a cave over here that leads you in there. Oh, because nobody else knows about that except for you, apparently. So
yeah, like, well, these things have been trapped in here except for this.
What I
mine.
did love about this is all these things are colorful. And they're bright.
Hmm.
They didn't go with these gray, lizardy, dark, whatever. This where they're at, there's bright colors in all these different creatures. I did like that.
Well, it's kind of like real evolution, right? Like, there is some scientific accuracy. Like, colors came later in evolution, right?
I don't know.
I wasn't around back then myself. So
Oh, wow.
I know there's some crazy, crazy creatures out there.
oh, especially like
that-
rainforest creatures, man, they're like a rainbow.
So see, the other day there's this. It's this tiny little thing, and it eats man of war jellyfish. It is purely harmless until it eats. Once it starts feeding, it gets bigger. Then it becomes poisonous because it takes all the whatever.
Yeah, but
But the thing looks exactly like something from Avatar, like James Cameron's Avatar. It's like, but it's only this big.
oh, it's that weird blue
Yeah,
blue
it's like blue and
stripe
white
thingy.
and-
Yeah.
I don't know where the hell I seen that, but it's just like, holy shit.
I didn't realize that was the because that's the most poisonous jellyfish in the world, right?
Yeah, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
So like that thing's top of the food chain. Oh, this single cell organism that shoots out of here is gross.
I mean, this, and you can't blame them, but this is the worst CGI in the movie. Is this thing?
I don't even know if that's CGI right now. That's some bad green screen stuff going on.
Well, the groundbreaking, whatever. But I'm talking the creature itself.
Yeah, the creature itself is not. Yeah. You know, it's early 2000 CGI. Like, it almost reminds me of Spaceship Troopers. The
Starship.
CGI. Yes. Yes, that's what I meant.
Yes.
That was a pretty good one for CGI.
Was it
For its
For
time,
absolutely.
Yeah.
it was good.
For its time.
It looks like this if you look at it nowadays, which is not amazing.
No, so what's wrong with this? Is that's not how a giant slime monster's thing should look like. I think it should, like, what's wrong with it?
It
Is my question.
Well, in my experience with giant single cell aliens, they don't look like that.
I don't think it's the look of the creature, more of the aesthetic behind
Yeah,
the background.
It looking like it belongs in that there. It doesn't. So
Mhm.
but doesn't belong
Well-
there. It came from outer space.
These are fair points. These
I
are
mean-
fair. Yeah, it's hard to argue with you on this.
There is a body count in this movie.
One
now.
could argue the movement of it. That would be the most arguable thing. Like, I'm not saying it's great, but I'm thinking it didn't take me out of the movie on the weekend, and it didn't take me out of the movie 20 years ago.
These movies were not meant to be seen in high def either, right? I do
Certain
think.
movies, Frick. There are times when I regret my Blu-ray-ness.
Mhm.
So, certain movies. Yeah.
We almost forgot to talk about the Head and Shoulders.
Oh,
How those
yeah.
two idiots discovered the Head and Shoulders.
And we're not talking the scientists. We're talking the students who are the idiots.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got the C minus.
Cells are bad. My uncle lives in a cell. It's 6 foot by 8, and he has to read the so many more boring magazines every day. The end.
I'm pretty sure that's a trope, where the dumbest person always seems to come up with the one bright idea, just happens to know that one piece of information at the right time. Oh, well, my uncle
Every
used to...
single Ivan Reitman movie has tropes. Every single one.
You know, I would argue, I can't remember Stripes well enough, but I know Ghostbusters, that I don't feel like they became tropes till after Ghostbusters, a lot of the tropes in there, and they became tropes
The
afterwards.
80s created tropes.
There was a lot of tropes that were
I-
created.
That's fair.
A lot of our modern day
So, yeah,
ones,
we were talking about
but
this-
not all of them.
We were talking about this off air, and we're talking about since we're talking about the Head and Shoulders thing. Where the fuck did they find 1 million bottles of shampoo in a small suburban town in Arizona, and
It's
able to
dry skin, motherfucker.
and freaking fill up a fire truck in enough time
Oh, yeah,
to
yeah.
stop these
That's
things?
true.
And they were clearing out the city at the night. You know, so there was no stores open. Everything
Yeah.
was closed. They were having like Armageddon parties, right? Like,
Yeah.
and like, how much napalm did they think they were going to use that they had to evacuate the whole town? Because these guys were like right by the drop zone of napalm, and they're just perfectly fine. Yet they evacuated a whole city.
Yeah.
I think they overestimated the amount of napalm they were going to use.
Well, I mean, when you're talking explosives, you're always going to go, what is safe? And then 10 tons of it. I mean, that actually makes sense. You know, it's
Here's
just
the
like,
green screen right here. It's so noticeably green screen.
yes.
I don't know why you would offer to be like, no. You're not going to be the guy to climb the ladder. I'm
Well,
going to be
since
the
he
guy.
he had revenge because he wanted to get revenge on the alien that went up his ass.
Okay, there's a guy I follow on TikTok, and he says, if the guys in the horror movies had some common sense, what do you mean? Going out to the woods in that dark cabin? Nah, I think I'm good, thanks. You know, what? Go down to the cellar when the light's not working? No, seriously, what do you mean go alone? No, let's go together.
I'll be right
He
back.
does it with action movies and every other type of movie where it's just like, yeah.
Yeah, but, you know, the typical movie's got a movie, right? Like, it's just, why did you make that decision?
And I think
I don't think I would do this to save the world. I really
You
do.
wouldn't shoot up an alien's asshole?
Not without some like
Facial
eye protection.
Yeah. I know he's going like,
Yeah,
I'm like,
his
close
mouth
your
is
mouth.
Oh, and then he gets sucked up into the.
In
Oh,
the sphincter.
I'm pretty sure that's practical.
it does look practical,
You
actually.
think?
It is absolutely practical. It is clearly, obviously practical. But
Ivan Reitman must have been in his slime phase
Let
at this
go of my
point.
friend, you asshole.
It was an asshole. And like, that's not what happens to us when we get injected with arsenic, is it? I'm not an arsenic expert, but I don't think.
Well, the
we,
last
like-
time I put some in someone, they didn't do it. So
arsenic used to be they intentionally, women would take it because it made their skin white.
Really?
Arsenic and old lace.
I've just seen a documentary on that. Arsenic was intentionally used and ingested because it whitened the skin of women back in the
Frickin' women were
1800s or
weird.
something.
Well, some of the stuff that we didn't have information on, like remember
Oh, yeah.
back when asbestos was the miracle material, right? You wrapped your baby in asbestos to help protect it from fires.
Oh yeah. No, I mean, that's the whole evolution. I mean, become smarter, and that's why.
Did any of those
When,
old ladies, while whitening their skin, explode like this giant?
well,
Single
many of them died, but they didn't explode like this. But,
I guess nobody shoved it up their rear with a fire hose either. I
Fair.
guess.
I think most things, if shoved up your ass with a fire hose, would make you explode.
Yeah, probably, probably. Like
I mean-
water's not poisonous, but it would do that with enough
Yeah.
pressure.
I heard a swimming pool. No, that's sucking out. Never mind.
Sucking what?
Out.
Oh.
No, not blowing up. It was sucked it out.
Mm.
I've heard of people getting having issues at swimming pools where the suction would pull their innards out.
Oh, I hate when that
Oh,
happens.
that
Yeah,
would like you would have to be doing something.
or the pool would have to also be doing something wrong or have malfunction for that kind of pressure
Yeah, right.
to do that.
Yeah.
As a guy who has somewhat experience with a pool and a guy who has a lot more experience with water than me, I don't even know how you would do that.
How you would suck
Like that much pressure.
Oh, that totally exists. Like if you
Yeah,
get
see, if anybody would know, it's you. So
It's getting the seal would be.
yeah. Well, that's where I say that you've got to be kind of doing something inappropriate because you gotta be pressing pretty hard against there before you create that kind of seal.
Yeah.
At least the kind of pressures they use in a pump, or like you say, they're doing something wrong.
Default went wrong with a pump.
our pump PSI is between 20 and 30 for the hot tub and pool.
It depends.
No, I'm saying that's what ours is. So
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
maybe ours, but yeah, they could range from any PSI.
Yeah, but
like you
that's-
could put any pump in there you want,
Yeah.
right? But hot tub pumps don't suck anyway.
anyway,
This kind of bugs me. This kind of we're gonna run off into the fire truck thing. Like,
yeah. Oh,
I don't. I feel like there was very poor chemistry between those two.
I know they never really developed a relationship. Like he would hit on her, but it sounded like he was just kidding around when the first happened. And
He wasn't even really hitting on her. I felt like he was like
There we go.
a lot of
There's the sequel.
yeah.
but see, I thought it was part of this commercial.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when you're doing a story, it's just like how important is the love interest, and it's like who do we got as an actor? Moore. Ooh. And Cubby. Oh, that's not gonna work.
I guess I should retract one comment I said at the beginning about Julianne Moore. I do hate Julianne Moore. That said, I love the movie 9 Months.
I
That was Hugh Grant and Julianne Moore.
Yeah.
So
liked her in was it the second Jurassic Park. I loved her in that one.
Oh, that's the one.
She was the love interest to Malcolm.
That was the bad one until.
That was
the second and
best.
third were the best.
Oh, that's the
That's the
second
second
one.
best
That's
one.
the second one.
Yes,
not the third
I
one.
think so.
The
I
second
can't remember which one.
The second one used to be my favorite. So, and now I've established that objectively the first one's better. But yeah, she was in the second one. The third one's the bad one until the new ones came out, which became the bad ones now.
I mean, World was okay. It was just the sequels that sucked.
Oh, the sequels were terrible,
Oh, you
especially
mean
that
the
one.
Pratt ones.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
No, the first one was okay, but that was
the
it.
first one was okay.
Yeah, that was it.
The
Yeah.
two after that, like especially that one that just came out.
Well, cloning the girl, like I'm like this. I get that cloning is a theme in this thing, but why do we go the route of humans? That has nothing
It's
to
a
do with
Disney
anything.
thing.
So
Oh
They're
yeah.
just cloning all over the place in Disney now.
yeah, but
Star
it wasn't
Wars is
Disney. It
looking
was
into it.
Spielberg.
What's that?
It was Spielberg. It wasn't Disney.
No, I know.
I think it's
does
Universal Studios.
Does Disney not own Jurassic
No.
Park stuff?
No, it's
No, it's-
Universal.
Oh. Oh, okay.
And
Weird,
Amblin
right?
Entertainment, which is Steven Spielberg.
Some giant franchise that Disney
Well,
doesn't own.
Yeah.
What?
Yet.
Yeah, they're working on it.
I mean, there used to be laws about anti-monopoly organizations, and yet, whatever.
I don't want to get down this rabbit hole too far, but I've kind of got a theory that like ma and pop businesses, or like in this case, like movie production companies.
Independent film.
Yeah,
Kind of thing.
I think it's getting so expensive to do business, all in general, and some of it's like just prohibitive for restrictions and legislation and stuff like that. It's become so that you can't have small business like indie films or small companies. They get swallowed up by these major corporations because they're the only ones that can afford to stay in business nowadays.
That's the thing. The small indie companies have to stay strong and not sell out to the big companies, no matter who it is. Because the only issue they have, because the technology's there to make great films, it's the distribution. That's the only issue.
Who's going to buy it once the people that started it are done? That's the problem. Like, okay, we've got this small independent film company, and then the guy at the head of it, the main producer, he says, "Okay, I'm done making film. I'm done. I want to sell my production company." Is he going to find some small independent filmmaker to buy it, or is he going to sell to Disney?
He should, and that's my argument.
But there's not any. That guy doesn't exist anymore that has the means to do that. Only mega corporations do.
Well, yeah, they end up selling it to mega. They sell the product to the mega corporations for the distribution, but they're making the films, these lower budget indie films, within their own world.
So right? A good example is that movie I just did the review on, Late Night with the Devil.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that Family Guy episode where they make the joke like Peter's in the theater? It's like, all right, what kind of movie? It's this movie. Oh, look, it's going to have this in it. Oh, well, it's just another movie company. Oh, look, it's going to be that. It's just another movie company. And it goes through like 5. Late Night with the Devil had like 7 movie companies at the beginning. Wow. And I was like sitting there, I'm like, holy shit. Like it was ridiculously indie. And I think they basically, the filmmakers probably did not have to drop a dime because of all these companies that chipped in. Mm-hmm. So, which is good because they made a great movie out of it. But it was just hilarious seeing that. But it shows, yeah, you need, like Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith makes his own movies, but he never distributes them. He always sends them to the bigger companies to distribute.
Well, I don't think he's got the money to distribute himself, right? That's why he needs the bigger company.
Yeah, exactly.
And he crowdfunds and he does all sorts of shit. So
Kevin Smith's in a position that breaks my heart. Like, I know he's never again going to make a bigger budget movie because he's not bankable, right?
Well, Logan turned on him years ago. He's I don't like him anymore. He's a sellout. He's a this. He's a that. He doesn't like where his mentality is now.
Oh man, he's less of a sellout now than he's ever been. Though, like,
he's sold out to everything that I hear him. Oh, everything is about love this and love that. There's no negativity out of it.
Well,
you have to love everything.
That's different than selling out.
Well, what I mean,
selling out is when he sold off the rights to Clerks.
No,
and then decided to make Mallrats. That's
selling out is when you stop fighting for what's right.
But all his movies now are passion movies for him.
Yeah, and
so in a sense, that's the opposite of a sellout.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Well, I would. Think
he's not making money because he's filming what he wants.
Little guy anymore either. If I understand what I've been, like I said, I never liked a lot of his movies. I love Tusk. That was a fun movie.
The movie most universally hated in the collection.
Tusk is not. Yeah, Yoga Hosers is.
But I mean, I just know that there's people out there that it's just like he praises the Disney product. He praises the glory of that for the low tiered level. I mean, he's at a point in his life where he only has to do what he wants to do. Same with anybody, these big names out there. But that to me, it's like you're not pushing to drive the indie film industry. You're not supporting the indie film industry.
I think because Kevin Smith is an old school comic book fan, and I think because he still loves the comic book movies, doesn't make him a sellout. It just means that
I'm not labeling him a sellout. Okay. Just to be clear. Okay, this is what I like. He has turned some table, some change, somewhere. I don't like his attitude anymore.
It's because he's vegan. It's his fault.
What's that?
It's because he's vegan.
Well, I mean, it's just all that's what happens when you go vegan.
Yeah, right.
You become a dick.
He went vegan only because he had a heart attack. Like,
yeah,
details.
But he's still a vegan. He didn't have to stay a vegan.
Well,
you can level out, But anyway,
I think it's okay if
Of
he
course,
makes
Rob
healthy
Zombie is a
lifestyle.
vegan. Did
what
you know
I
that?
don't like is what I know about him is all of a sudden now it's just like praise everything. Everything's got to be yay and love and whatever, and you can't dislike anything. You shouldn't dislike anything, and you shouldn't whatever. And I think that goes against the idea. If you want something better, you should say something. Now, you shouldn't be toxic and an asshole, but you should say something. You should stand up and say something, or not promote it. But
Maybe you're misconstruing it that he actually enjoys the product being made now, though.
I've heard him. I've watched his stuff. I'm just saying, this is the impression I get.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's just like, and I've heard him say, there's too much time to hate. There's not enough, whatever it is. Life's too short to hate. And it's just like, so I have a friend, a good friend of mine, Billy.
I don't.
Billy, he's all about this Buddha and this whatever and whatever. It's just like, you have to accept your life and make love with that moment and accept it for what it is. And going, are you suggesting I shouldn't fight or work hard to grow and achieve? You should just accept what you got and be happy. And this is all Buddhist type stuff. It's just like, I'm not sure, and I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that in case Bill ever listens to this. But it's just like, look, I think everybody should stand up for what they believe in, say what they believe in. You don't have to ram it and preach and whatever, but stand up for what you believe in. I won't buy a Disney product because I don't believe in them, and I'm done. Now I've stopped doing the Toxic Avenger on Facebook, but because I was that guy for a bit, but you know what I'm saying anyway. So
Anyway, so evolution. Do we have any final thoughts?
How about we come back to our final thoughts after this break?
All right, so this is everybody's favorite time of the night. Movies wrapped up. Let's talk final thoughts. We kind of mentioned it right before the break. I think that's about time. So
you know what? I'm going to throw a wrench in this plan because I guess
you
remember.
Maniac.
Yeah. No, we talked about a plan. We had a plan laid out, and I'm just like, fuck. Where does it belong in the video store?
Comedy.
Well, we're supposed to do that
we
first.
can argue sci-fi. Where could it? Let's start with where could it belong?
Ooh, that's an interesting way to think about it.
Okay, so it could go into sci-fi.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be my only other choice.
Comedy is a clear option.
Yeah.
Is it a drama?
No.
A couple small tweaks, and this would be a drama.
Like from between the opening credits and the end credit change.
You got a couple different reflections on a couple different characters, and it could quite possibly be a drama.
Well, I gotta say it for just for Laura's sake. There were some pretty horrific scenes.
It was pretty horrific.
I'm going to say, if you call Jurassic Park a horror and not this, I mean, come on.
Oh, well, this isn't as scary as Jurassic Park.
They're creatures. They ate someone in it.
Okay.
What the fuck is the difference?
So, Jurassic had the jump scares and stuff like that. I don't think this one ever did it?
I mean, when the thing came out and bit the lady's hand there?
Yeah, that was a bit of a
that
jump
was
scare.
Close, but I would.
Oh, and
then the thing in the water tank there was swimming around. He looks closer. And all of a sudden jumps out at him.
Yeah, I guess there was a couple.
And what about when the sapien showed up and started destroying the
Blue New-Nose Chimp?
Yeah,
as Ben Affleck called him?
That takes you out of it, but he starts destroying it. Like, oh, they're getting smarter, right?
I loved how they're getting smarter, but those blue chimps were just like intellectual. Let's trick them by this. The complexity of their thought process is far beyond what it needs for them to be alive for like 3 days. Sorry, we're not born with mathematical skills.
I mean, I was.
Yeah, but that was kind of the point of the movie, though, with like evolution hyper sped up, right? So
yeah.
So you're gonna put it in comedy, Corey?
Yeah.
Mike?
Yeah.
You're putting it in comedy? I don't think it's as funny as you guys do. So I'm gonna put it in sci-fi. Not horror, but sci-fi. I think it's a sci-fi movie. Duchovny back.
It was comedic. Like they leaned into the comedy too much for me not to. I mean, when he's getting the thing pulled out of his ass, that is pure
Okay,
comedy,
that is pure
you
comedy.
know,
And when he gets sucked up into it too, I will admit.
Yeah.
But if I was to put it anywhere, I'd put it in the science fiction section. So now you can continue where we're going.
Can I? Or do you have anything else?
You know,
that was intentional silence, people. Mike, final thoughts?
I was actually excited when Corey mentioned this one because I remember looking back loving this film. I had such a great time. Let's see, 2001. That would have put me
Still old.
32 or something like that. 2001, yeah, it made me 32. So it still held me. I think maybe I liked it because people shit on it. People didn't like it. It bombed in the box office, and it always baffles me when people arbitrarily shit on something, and I can't understand why. I mean, it was no better or worse than any of the other stupid comedies, but yet they seem to think this was like that bad. So, but I kind of like Duchovny, although I think he should start a franchise like John Wick or something because he has got the same personality. Julianne Moore's good. Orlando was the energy and the humor of it, and he drove it. I really enjoyed it. The premise was good. Evolution, millions of years over the span of a week or whatever time it took place. It was bright. It was colorful. It was a bad movie that I enjoyed. So, I mean, it was like forced. It was trope. It was cliche. It was everything you can think of with comedies. So I enjoyed it. We'll give it a 6 on the enjoyment meter and 5 on a well done meter. Something along that line.
It's higher on the well done meter than I was expecting to give it.
Well, I mean, like I said, if we put this up against...
So it was like medium well.
Medium well.
If you put this up against the comedies of the era of the whatever, it's no worse than anything else. It's no worse than a Sandler
That's
movie
a good way of putting
whatever.
it. It is a comedy of its era.
Hey, this is true. This is very true.
I mean, back then, would I have done something different? Probably not, because I enjoyed it back then. If I were to do a comedy now under my parameters, yeah, okay.
Yeah, sometimes you need to judge a movie for the time it came out with, too, right? Like there's.
Well, the enjoyment you have in a movie depends on when you saw it, much more than that you saw it. You know.
Yes.
We've all seen movies that I loved the Corsican Brothers when I was whatever old that was. You know.
And that movie, not to be insulting, but does not hold up very good. It did have a couple laughs.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely not the laugh riot.
I laughed at it back then.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, Jeffrey?
My final thoughts on it. I'm struggling with the rating. I kind of feel like it fits firmly in one of my ratings, but I don't want to rank it that high. The chemistry between Julianne Moore and David Duchovny was very flat for me.
Yeah.
Very, very flat.
The chemistry with David Duchovny and anybody.
The Duchovny with him in Orlando was better than him and Julianne.
True.
You know what? He's got some pretty good chemistry, I thought, in the X-Files.
Oh, yeah. Him and Jillian? Yeah.
Yeah.
I never cared for that movie either, or the TV show either.
I loved it.
I was a child of that time, right? So this movie, oddly enough, came out at a different time in my life than it would. I was almost getting to the point where I'm above this kind of movie. I was not quite there yet, but I was starting to get where, these kind of high concept, cheesy movies, I was better than, I was becoming an adult and I needed to watch shows like Pool Hall Junkies or Clerks or some El Mariachi. Well,
Okay.
comparatively to this, yes,
I think
it's
it's a lateral slide.
oh, it's a very different comparative, but very, very different movies, right? This was a slapstick, high budget movie. That's not what Clerks was at all,
No,
right?
no.
Uh, and the comedy came from a different place in those two movies, right? I gotta give it a Raiders of the, or not a Raiders of the
I
Lost
was
Ark,
like, seriously?
a Temple of Doom. I've been struggling whether or not it's a Kingdom of the Crystal Skulls with 3/4 of a Temple of Doom.
See,
But
that's the rating I had in my head.
yeah,
Yeah.
I guess
Crystal Skull?
Crystal Skull with 3/4 temple.
yeah, it's a temple movie though, right? It's firmly a Temple of Doom movie, and it's not. You know what? I'm gonna go. Actually, what I'm gonna do is give it a Temple of Doom with a half of a Crystal Skull to knock it down. That's what I'm gonna do.
So Crystal Skull has turned into a negative now.
Well, it's a
Crystal
rate.
Skull was a negative.
Fair enough.
It's a Temple of Doom, but but it's not a Crystal Skull. It's better than a Crystal Skull, so I'm using the Crystal Skull to knock down it being a Temple of Doom.
See, Temple of Doom is, we'll say, definitively a passing grade. Being vague.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I like Temple of Doom.
I know. That's, so you knocked it down by half a crystal or a quarter crystal?
I better do a quarter crystal.
Quarter crystal. So
Which sounds like the same as a crystal and 3/4 of a Raiders, but there's a difference because it's a Temple of Doom movie.
okay.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
Does that make any sense to you guys?
Are we
I'm
trying
not
to?
going to answer that. I think I figured you out, and I'm just going to let it go. Let the audience figure out you.
This is for them, not for us.
Well, yeah, exactly. So,
Corey, what's your final thought on this movie?
This movie has been a guilty pleasure since it came out, and as you know, I'm very nostalgic. I mean, I'm Mike's bitter opposite when it comes to that.
yeah.
I remember the trailer for it. I remember watching it. I don't recall if I watched it in the theater, but I definitely watched it when it came out on video. And I watched it and I watched it, and I had it on DVD until recently, and it disappeared. So I just bought the Blu-ray. It's not good. No, it's not. And again, it's tropey. It's cheesy. It's most part poorly acted. There's really no redeeming qualities for it. But like, unlike Mike, who splits up his ratings between likability and quality of the movie, I mesh them. So, in my opinion, this is a solid 3 out of 5. But it doesn't mean it's a good movie.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, I'd go with that.
But it's a very much guilty pleasure, and I'm a big Duchovny fan, like I said.
I don't think you have to feel guilty about being liking this one. Like, it's not. I don't think it's not something I'm going to go back to over and over again.
Oh, see, we watch this like once a month at home.
Yeah,
So,
really.
yeah.
I really enjoyed watching this the other day on the weekend, and it was fun.
It certainly wasn't a slug to get through. Like, some movies are, right? But it's, yeah.
I mean, when you're sitting in, there's my question. You're looking at movies. That was going to be my question of the week. Name me a star and an actor. What's the difference between a star and an actor?
The type of movies they're in?
Well, no. I mean, like, Arnold Schwarzenegger is a star. He's not an actor. David Duchovny is a star. He's not.
He literally just put out an article. I don't know if it was Entertainment Weekly or whatever, but saying, I never wanted to be a leading man in Hollywood. And he actually, like, this literally article just came out like yesterday or today.
With who?
Duchovny.
Oh, yeah. Well, he's not.
No, but
I mean, he's pulled off a few.
No, but he said he didn't want to be that guy, so that's why he stuck with the type of things he did.
Yeah, and I think I don't want to take away from any performer or actor if they're happy in the world what they're doing.
Would Julian Moore be an actor or a star? That
Actor.
would be, I would say
She's an
actor too.
Yeah.
So we've got an
She
actor up
came
against
close.
a star.
She came close. She's done a few big things, but not
See,
quite there.
She would be a big, like, she's a bigger star than Duchovny.
Oh, totally.
Yeah.
But Duchovny's a star, not an actor. Like I could see the difference.
Well, I mean, and actors are people that go deep into actually. This was not an example of Julianne Moore's acting ability. She was here. She had a blast. I'm sure she had fun with the crew making the film. But I mean, you look at people that Christian Bale. These are people that they go into the depth of a character and develop it from nothing, and they go into all these levels. And we're not talking about the hardcore method, even like Daniel Day-Lewis. I mean,
Well, Christian Bale, I would argue, is a method actor.
he was very much so less now. His doctor
Fair.
told him he had to stop.
Well, but was it
well,
The Machinist? He
he-
was like 90 pounds.
86 pounds, and then he
Aye.
gained 120 pounds for Batman.
Yeah,
Ended up gaining too much, had to lose some more weight, got redonkulously sick.
Oh yeah, he bounced
So-
all over, gained a bunch of weight.
And then the
played-
fighter, he was down to 110.
Yeah, played Cheney
Yeah.
or whatever that was.
Yeah.
And-
Oh yeah, gained a bunch of weight for that.
But you even look at him like an actor takes the minor roles and makes something out of it. They go off of that core stock and build and build and build. You look at Gore, it's like the Gore, the God Hunter. These are, and there's a lot of actors out there, and I think they get mischaracterized with stars, and stars get whatever, and that sort of thing.
On this topic, a thought occurs to me: can a background character be a star?
It can be.
Yeah. Sometimes they overshine the leads without trying.
Well, I'm gonna say like a perpetual supporting actor. I'm not saying like Bill Murray's a supporting actor in the movie. No, this is somebody who's continually a supporting actor.
Oh, absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
like a backup goalie.
Yeah.
Some people. There's a lot. I couldn't think of the names right now, but there's a lot of people that don't want the pressure of that full lead, but they have that passion for the role, and they build on that and they work on that, and it's absolutely fair.
Well, look at Philip Seymour
Paul
Hoffman.
Giamatti.
Yeah.
There's a perfect one. He'll never be that guy because he's not good looking enough.
Mm-hmm.
He's not normal enough. You got to be like 5'8", 150 pounds to play everything and to really delve into all these different characters. But if you're too tall, too fat, too whatever, too much of a chin, they all steps away from being that superstar.
Are you trying to say that Paul Giamatti's a star, not an actor? Because
No, he's an actor.
Yeah, that's what I would say too.
I'm saying exactly what you said.
Hmm.
He lives in the background
Mm-hmm.
for most of his roles, and he absolutely is an actor. In
The-
my mind.
The person that comes to mind for me on the opposite, that's a star that is always in the background, Danny Trejo. That guy plays the
He's
same
not
one.
An actor.
Yeah, he's not an
He's
actor.
having a blast.
Oh, he loves everything he's in.
But you can't put actor into his.
No.
I
Although,
don't think-
as a background, like, I don't know if you guys have watched Rob Zombie's Halloween, but I swear to God, he deserved an Oscar for that movie. He was amazing. It wasn't cheesy. He was serious as a heart attack, and he was incredible in that movie.
Danny Trejo.
Yeah, he played
Really?
the janitor at the facility where Michael was kept. But no, the actor I think of, he started out as a side, and he was great as a side, and then turned into
like
huge.
fries
Yes,
or more like onion rings.
I would go onion
Onion
rings.
rings are a better side.
Yeah, I wouldn't go onion rings. Far, but-
But it's definitely not a coleslaw.
You know, onion rings are good if you've got the right person making the onion rings. If
I
you got
saw
the
them
wrong
making
person
onion
making
rings.
onion rings.
On the average, onion rings are better than fries.
So, anyways, Philip Seymour Hoffman in Twister, he was just the
There's
side
another
guy,
one. There's
and
another
he
one.
was fantastic. But then all of a sudden, Mission Impossible 3, he was a side character, but holy shit, was he good! Then all of a sudden, Truman Capote came out,
Yeah.
and he won an Oscar, And then all of a sudden, all these other movies came out, and he's just like, "Oh my god, this guy is amazing! What have we been missing out on all these years?"
And the funny thing, doing research years ago, there's a play, a Broadway play called True West, and it's an actor's project, and it was Philip Seymour Hoffman and John C. Reilly played their brothers. One's a good brother, one's a bad brother, and it's this ridiculously beautifully convoluted, the good brother ends up killing the bad brother, whatever. But they played it, they flipped the roles every night.
Oh yeah?
This is long before Hoffman was getting Oscars and stuff. Long before I realized, John C. Reilly, which I did not realize. He's obviously picking roles to have fun because he's a far better actor than
Walk Hard,
than who he
Step Brothers
stands next to. So which is So.
John C. Reilly. Whenever I think of him, there was an Oscar performance with Will Ferrell and Jack Black, and they're singing about the comedian. Hey, did you guys ever see this? So they're singing about it's a hilarious musical where they're just like, the comedian never gets the Oscar. And then at the end of it, John C. Reilly shows up and he's got like an Oscar because I don't recall what he won for. But John C. Reilly does have an Oscar.
Let's Google that because I'm curious.
And he comes out.
Reilly won an Oscar?
And he comes out with a "You can do it too." And this was like shortly after one of the Will Ferrell, John C. Reilly roles. So I thought, whenever I think of John C. Reilly being a good actor,
crazy, yeah.
I think of that.
I liked the promotion. It was a movie with John C. Reilly and Seann William Scott, and they're both going after a promotion at work. Their wives are Jenna Fisher is the one wife, and I can't remember who the other wife is. And it was a fun little movie.
I don't think I've ever heard of the promotion.
It was straight to video.
Oh,
I'm pretty sure it was anyway. But it came out when I was at Blockbuster, and I watched it and I really enjoyed it. So,
you wouldn't think with that cast that it would have went straight to.
It says comedy / indie film.
Academy Awards is the Oscars.
Yeah.
The Best Supporting Actor in Chicago.
Really?
Wow, I didn't even realize he was in Chicago.
Well, when I realized,
I guess he would have visited at some point.
Is The Gangs in New York. I didn't realize he was so good in that. And then when he played in the life story of Laurel and Hardy. After the movie was over, I go, who the hell is that? It was bugging me. It was driving me nuts. I had to Google it. It's like, holy shit.
Well, he was
so good.
He was built for that role, right?
Well, he had to be padded up for that.
Well, he's not that big, but he's got that look, and he can totally play that character.
Well, I don't know. I've never seen the guy without his hair being a big part of who he is.
Yeah, his poofy curly hair.
Yeah, so it was hard for me to.
Also, Wreck-It Ralph.
The voice actor. Yeah,
back to Sarah Silverman, right?
Yeah. So this is like the most off topic, I think, and that says a lot that we've gotten, but I've been really enjoying this conversation tonight.
Well, we'll have to pick it up next week because we're running out of time, folks.
Who's it next week? Mine?
Yes, sir.
I do believe it. Or do you have a movie announcement for us, Mike? Do we need to get the drum roll?
Or do we have to wait? We have to buy the subscription.
I got to double check something because there is one movie, and you can rent it on streaming for like $6 now, but it's coming onto Prime, I think, next week. And if that's true,
you want to hold off on it?
I would like to do that one because it's like these two chicks jump in this car.
I'm excited already.
And the car's supposed to be picked up by this group of people. This chick comes and says, "Oh, we're here to pick up the car." Oh, so the guy gives it to the wrong people, and they take the kind of like
Drama in the weeds.
I was the other one.
But it absolutely looks hilarious for the trailer. I mean, I'd hate to see it flop and bomb, but it's got these two young actresses, and their wit and charm in the trailer and then it cameos Matt Damon and a small list of other people. So, but I gotta think about the movie. If not, I will throw it out there on TikTok. So, and that's what you'll find out. So,
Well, you heard it here first, folks. Follow us on TikTok, even though several less of you follow us here than on TikTok already. But
Yeah. So TikTok
Yeah.
people, follow us on Spotify.
I don't know if the TikTok people hear us here because they're on.
Damn it, Mike.
Yeah.
well, I keep asking you guys, and
Okay, Mike, what do you got to say?
Shakespeare in the Cook Park coming up at the end of August in Camrose. There's a lot of buzz there. I'm excited about that. And we got a gong show, but we'll worry about Shakespeare in the Park first.
I just got to say, those in the Alberta region, ease up on them workers down in Calgary. Literally, everyone is an armchair expert. I understand what the doctors went through COVID-19 now, because everyone thinks they know exactly what happened down there. Your municipal workers are working a lot harder than you all think, okay?
The show must go
They're
on.
working themselves to death.
They could die down there.
Soon?
Too soon. Well,
That's
yeah.
Calgary. You guys hate the Flames, so right?
Well, that doesn't mean just because I hate the Flames doesn't mean I hate the city. Like, I hate the city, but that's not because I hate the Flames.
I just don't like the people.
I actually said to my wife, I said, Calgary is by far the better city than Edmonton, but I will never like Calgary.
That's an incorrect statement.
I think so.
Oh, it is much prettier, beautiful.
Bigger.
It's bigger. I mean, there's a lot going for it.
Bigger doesn't mean better.
No,
well, that's the least of the
combine that with the beauty, the aesthetics. It's a more aesthetically pleasing city.
Maybe I've been to the wrong parts of Calgary, but I think Calgary's like not a pretty city. There's Bull River's nice.
Have you ever been down to downtown? What the hell's that place? Beautiful mall just off of First Ave.
Not Center. South Center.
They're just closing down the mall. They built a mall there like 20 years ago for the farmers market, and now they're closing. Logan and I went to the theater there. Every time we would go to Comic-Con, we would go to the movie at that place.
I do know what mall you're thinking about.
Eau Claire Mall, Eau Claire region.
Yeah.
Never been there because I
cannot cross the bridge with all those beautiful lion statues into Chinatown, or
done that.
I mean, it's. We got a giant blue cock ring or giant blue silver balls. I mean, I don't know. You make your call on that.
No, I don't. I'm not a fan of downtown Calgary, so
driving. Fuck, I hate driving in downtown Calgary.
Oh, I don't mind it.
Maybe it's just driving in Calgary. You know what I hate about Calgary? Driving. I fucking hate driving in Calgary.
Except for the Deerfoot, because I love fucking.
I fucking hate the Deerfoot. I think the Deerfoot's the worst.
It's fantastic.
So. The Deerfoot's the worst road in all of Alberta.
I don't know. I never understood the complaining, because you're not the first one, but I mean, it's you clip along, you keep it your steady 140, and then you're good.
My grandparents, my grandma's gone now, but my grandpa still lives. You got to get onto the Glenmore to get to his place.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck, if you hit that the wrong time, you are not getting in your lane. Like, it is like impossible. Like, people will not fucking budge for you. But that's enough complaining about Calgary. The municipal workers still do an amazing job trying to get the water back on down there.
Yeah, well,
like I said, they're still doing the stampede. They're not stopping. They said so.
Yeah, Corey, send us off.
I got nothing. Hit us up. Again, we for the people on here, hit us on TikTok. Holy shit. Anyway.
TikTok, Spotify.
And then, TikTok. If you can talk to your TikTok people, get us on here, back and forth. We should have equal viewers.
Instagram. We're on Instagram.
Instagram
and
I've been
Facebook.
slacking on. Facebook I've been
slacker.
Yeah, but Facebook I've been on top of.
We've had some written reviews lately. It's been heartwarming to see. So
yeah, I need to start getting to them
more. I enjoyed that, and Corey gave me some nice remarks. So
yeah, I know it was good. Both of you actually, I really appreciate both your submissions. I got my one in there. I think we should try and do a written once a week from each of us if we can.
It's got to be a movie that grabs me that I want to write.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah.
It could be like a big budget blockbuster movie every single time. It doesn't matter as long as we're flexing our writing muscles in our brains, right? So
To me, it's got to be something that's interesting, good or bad.
Mhm.
You know, I mean, I could almost write something. It's interesting that Marvel's flopped economically, but Captain Marvel succeeded. But Marvel's is like 3 times the movie that Captain America was. I mean, I could write something on that. And It's just like,
it's much more fun to write something you enjoy, though. It
well,
is.
that's
So,
true. That's true.
But we're signing off.
Have a good one.
Is that it?